A reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. The Lord God has given me a well-trained tongue, that I might know how to speak to the weary, a word that will rouse them. Morning after morning, he opens my ear that I may hear, and I have not rebelled, have not turned back. I gave my back to those who beat me, my cheeks to those who plucked my beard. My face I did not shield from buffets and spitting. The Lord God is my help, therefore I am not disgraced. I have set my face like flint, knowing that I shall not be put to shame. The word of the Lord. Almost 2 years ago, towards the end of my novitiate, I took my vow exam given by my novice master and 2 of the brothers in Denver. After answering all their questions about the constitutions, the rule of Augustine, the history of the order, I thought that I was out of the woods. That was until one brother, who had not said anything the entire time, decided to play devil's advocate, and he said, "I just have one question. You seem like a nice and normal guy, like you could have a nice career and family, but here you are petitioning to vow obedience, to be a preacher. Not to mention, the world is an absolute mess. People are either openly hostile or completely apathetic towards religion. So why in the world would you ever want to do this?" The question took me off guard, and I remember stringing together some pious answer about the gospel and serving Christ and seeking happiness and so on. He accepted it, and eventually I was approved for vows. But I've thought a lot about this question since then. I was reminded again of it when I looked at this reading. The servant we hear about in Isaiah, he's clearly faithful. He loves the Lord. He's a preacher, but he's rejected, spit on, beaten, his beard plucked. Does not seem like a very happy situation. We could easily read this and ask him, why would you ever want to do this? As men who have given our lives to be preachers, we identify very closely with this reading. In many ways, our entire life is centered on this one verse. The Lord God has given me a well-trained tongue, that I might know how to speak to the weary, a word that will rouse them. Isn't that what it's all about? We have to accept the fact, brothers, that our lives as religious, as mendicant friars, as priests and brothers, do not make any sense at all unless there is a word to be spoken to rouse the weary. So what is it? I think, at least in part, we can get a sense of it from this reading. Rather than overpower us or cure us by some external means or miraculous snap of the fingers, God, the all-powerful, the totally transcendent, took on flesh, became one of us, where he was beaten and spit upon. In order to speak to the weary, he took on weariness, even to death. It was from within our humanity that we were saved. I don't think that we're attracted to the suffering Christ because of some fascination with pain or asceticism and mortification. I think we're drawn because we identify with weariness. And because Christ has touched the lowest point of humanity, we know that the life he offers us through his resurrection is not superficial or cheap. Our weariness is not irrelevant. It's sanctified. He says to us, I have overcome even this. Let me take it on. Let me carry it with you. Let me transform it so you can be made whole again. This is the word that gives meaning to our lives as preachers. That through Jesus, out of death comes life, out of pain, joy, out of weariness, rest. Without this rousing word at the center of our lives, our way of life stops making any sense. Brothers, it can quickly become so easy to fall into the routine where we become just a few more good grad students, maybe very good grad students, a few more academic administrators, or a few more teachers who just happen to wear white robes. Keeping the word at the center of our lives, it doesn't have to be dramatic. We're in the thick of a busy semester. We have deadlines to meet, roles to fulfill, people to please. But as we begin Holy Week, we can reflect on those things in the midst of the grind that bring us life, bring us joy, bring us rest, bring us back to God. That is where God is calling us. We know that He's in the weariness with us, but He's always calling us forward, more deeply towards Himself, towards new life. We were made for this. We preach this. Why would you ever not want to do this?